Good evening. It's Tuesday, October 4th. Thanks so much for being here. Welcome to Everyday Talk 24/7. We're continuing to look at Psalm 63. It's such a rich psalm, so much there for us, but I think it speaks to so much of the daily issues that you and I face. It starts, as you remember, with the reality of David being in a wilderness. Whether it's a physical wilderness or just the wilderness of life when we feel lost. And to the point where his soul is parched. He's longing, thirsting for the real substance of life, for the person of God himself. And then God brings him out of that wilderness. And as we saw, he rejoices with the beauty that the love of God is even better than life itself. And you see, these just aren't words for David. They're not worshipers. They're not things that you sing in a worship service. This is his experience of being in the real life issues, the struggles of literal life and death. Even his own family trying to come after him. Friends, people that he thought he could trust. And he was alone, and his soul was parched, but God showed him his unfailing love. And David took it, the word of God, as his life. And so we see this beautiful rejoicing in that. So he does say, your unfailing love is better than life. And then the next section talks about the praise of God. Just being something that flows naturally because he knows of this precious possession that he has. And in this next section, it applies to so many of us because it has to do with our sleep. We are a nation and maybe an entire Western culture where we struggle with anxiety, where we struggle with sleep loss. Because of worry. And these middle verses in Psalm 63 say this, I lie awake at night, thinking of you, meditating on you through the night, because you are my helper. I sing for joy in the shadow of your wings. I cling to you. Your strong right hand holds me securely. See, this is David's experience coming from the wilderness, knowing the beautiful, unfailing love of God. And so when he's awake at night, instead of being overwhelmed by all the real troubles that are around him, the life-threatening struggles around him, for sure, David is lying awake, not in turmoil, but thinking about the wonder of God. The Hebrew for meditating is just saying it over and over and over again in your mind. See, if you're in bed at night and all you do is replay all the troubles that you have and all the worries that you have, and then God's job is to come rescue you from that, that's not the Lord of the Scriptures. That's not where hope is. Rather, David is caught up in the person of God, whom all these things that are around him, he knows that God is in control of them, and that he doesn't have to figure out a plan. He just has to focus on the wonder of God and respond to God in the way that God calls him to. He can leave worry aside, but if you leave worry aside, what do you replace it with? Well, this psalm tells us, I replace worry with thinking about the care of God. David was rescued from that wilderness. We are kept every day by the hand of God. Whether we acknowledge it or not, he is caring for us. We may have great anxieties. Your God does not have great anxieties. David is telling us in this psalm that your God cares for you. My God cares for me. God does pull us out of the wilderness. I sing for joy in the shadow of your wings. In other words, these wings of God are protecting him. He is covered there by God. Even if everything else is turmoil around him, he is protected and covered by God. His response? Not to cling to anxiety and worry. I cling to you. Your strong hand holds me securely. If I feel insecure, that doesn't mean that the strong hand of God is not there. The strong hand of God is there. So even if I'm torn apart by all these things, the strong hand of God is still there, whether I feel it or not. That's the wonder of God. So that's how David can say, I lay awake, thinking of you, meditating on you through the night. He's not letting the circumstances swirling around him determine his safety. He's letting the love and character and the unfailing love of God, which is better than life, be his peace. See, brothers and sisters, this is just amazingly practical. Recalling and thinking about the wonder of God as you lie awake at night is a conscious choice that we can make. Instead of being overwhelmed by everything that brings us worry and fear and just tears us up with anxiety, David is saying, I lie awake thinking of you, meditating on you through the night. This is the path of peace, of sweet sleep, and trust in the middle of a tumultuous world. It's just a beautiful thought, and it fits so amazingly well with this song. Tonight, open your eyes and think about the wonder of God. Think about God and his care for you and how he gives thirst. He heals this parched soul that we have. He quenches our thirst. That's the thought for this night. Thanks so much for being here, and Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow. Psalm 63. It's a beautiful song. Lie awake at night thinking about it. You have a good evening. Bye-bye.